and welcome back to the most amazing channel on the internet. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate. Links to my social media are in the description box down below. Today we are talking about the top 10 scary camping stories. You guys love scary, so we are bringing them to you. Although I do love camping, and after scripting this, I'm actually feeling a little bit anxious about it. Before we pitch up our tents and settle into this video, I just want to ask you guys if you like camping. What's the best camping adventure that you've ever been on? Do you s'more? I like to s'more. Also, guys, do hit that thumbs up button if you're feeling thumbsy. I'm still thinking about s'mores. Coming into number 10, we have the Yellowstone bear attack. I was always told by my friends in Ontario that I shouldn't be too afraid of black bears because they're not going to kill you, it's the grizzlies you need to watch out for. Now I don't know if that's true or not, but in 2010 a grizzly bear rampaged through a heavily occupied campground in Soda Butte near Yellowstone National Park. This all went down in the middle of the night, and sadly one man, Kevin Kammer, was killed and 2 other people were seriously injured. A woman suffered severe lacerations and crushed bones from bites on her arms, and a man had part of his calf ripped off. Other campers ran to their cars to hide from the mother bear and her cubs. Now it seems the bear had wandered into the chained campground and started slashing at tents. One survivor, Deb Freely, said she was woken to feel her arm being bitten into. She said when she woke up her tent was totally slashed. Worryingly, she said nobody stopped to help her. She only survived by playing dead, and after a while was able to grab her bear spray, although at this point the bear and the cubs had moved on and eaten another man. The attack was the most vicious and brazen in Yellowstone since the 1980s. The bear sadly after that was euthanized. Okay, next up, let this be a warning to anyone who uses a mini barbecue and brings it into a tent for warmth. Don't do it. Coming into number 9, we have death by carbon monoxide. In 2013, a 14-year-old girl was killed by fumes when her parents placed a bucket barbecue in the tent that they were sharing. Their family tried to minimize the fire damage but had no idea that contained burning coals produce carbon monoxide. Now if this is trapped in an enclosed space like a tent, it can and will kill. The incident took place at a campsite in Bucknell, Shropshire, United Kingdom. Hannah Thomas Jones was the closest to the barbecue and died overnight. Her mother Danielle Jones suffered carbon monoxide poisoning. She woke up and she couldn't move her limbs. Sadly, other members of the camping party found the child's body in the morning and called an ambulance, but it was too late to save her. Once again, don't bring coals or anything like that into your tent while you're camping. Coming into number 8, we have camping with the Klan. There is a Reddit thread in the Ask Reddit section all about creepy and unsettling camping stories. Beer Hunter 420 said that they were camping near a river when they'd been fishing and kayaking. They set up their tent with their friends in a purposefully remote spot hoping for a quiet escape. Later they all sat around the fire having a good time until they spotted a bigger fire in the distance about 300 yards away. They said then they also heard chanting. Now on a closer look at the fire, the campers realised that the group was burning a big cross. The cult members then started yelling about white power and scarily shooting their guns in the air. Isn't that terrifying? Because Christ, the Ku Klux Klan and also guns. Next, white supremacists are terrifying, but at least you can recognize an idiot when you see one. Coming into number 7, we have the silence. Another Reddit post here, this is from Biggs180. They shared a story about a camping trip in the Florida Everglades with friends. The group had retired to their tents for the evening and were beginning to fall asleep when one of them suddenly heard a very deep and low vibration. Then they all started to hear it and they began texting each other being like, what's happening? After that, all nature was silent. This even included the bugs. All of the crickets around the tent just shut up. The 4 campers once again text each other about how freaked out they were, careful not to break the eerie silence. Eventually all of the creatures started making noise again, but all of the campers didn't sleep a wink. When nature unanimously falls silent, you know that something big is going down. Coming into number 6, we have the Hangmans Tree. The Holcomb Valley Campground in Big Bear, California is a lovely place to camp, just don't go wandering near Hangman's Tree. The camping ground is near a mining ghost town, and if the ruins of an old settlement weren't enough to freak you out, nestled deep within the woods is Hangman's Tree, and this is an area that was used to enforce the law or even enact revenge in the 1800s. The area was huge with the Californian gold rush, and it attracted a few unscrupulous characters who were brought to justice here. Many campers who have hiked to the tree have reported paranormal paranormal goings-on and strange whisperings in the area. Some say that a gold smuggler uttered a curse as he was hung by the tree. I'm not sure that I'd fancy camping near all that bad juju. Coming into number 5, we have the ghosts of the Hawaiian night marchers. On the 5th of July 1995, Ricky, his girlfriend Jennifer, his friend Richard and Richard's son Ryan all went camping on a Hawaiian beach. Specifically, they were camping on Mokulia Beach on the island of Oahu. While they were on the beach at 10 PM at night, they saw distant flashes of light. Then, they saw a long line of torches on a mountain in the distance. It appears that they happened to spot the Night Marchers, a Hawaiian folk legend that says phantoms of ancient Hawaiian warriors roam the islands at night. Rumour has it if you share any blood relation with the Marchers you will be saved, or else you can pee on yourself for redemption. If you're in the path of a night marcher, you must strip naked and lay face down wherever you are. It seems that the group camping that night got lucky. They lived to tell the tale. Coming into number 4, we have the horrifying Lake Bodom murders. This is one of the most notorious unsolved crimes in Finnish history. In 1960, 4 teenagers were camping by Lake Bodom in Finland. What happened between the evening and the morning when 3 of the 4 youths were found brutally murdered, we aren't quite sure. A slashed and bloodied collapsed tent was discovered by a hiker the next morning, and when he went to investigate, 2 15-year-old girls and an 18-year-old boy were battered and stabbed to death. A 4th was left stabbed and unconscious. One of the girls, Malia Bjorklund, had been stripped naked from the waist down and had received the most stab wounds. Upon discovering the horrifying scene, hiker Risto Siren called the police and an ambulance. Luckily, the life of 18-year-old Niels Wilhelm Gustafsson was saved. Gustafsson was the sole survivor. He had concussion, facial bruises and fractures. He recalled seeing a vision of a black and red clothed attacker, which is terrifying. Now, I can't imagine being Siren, the hiker who found them all, having to see all of that with your own eyes. That would really haunt me forever. Coming into number 3, we have the Wells Gray murders. In the summer of 1982, Bob and Jackie Johnson, their 2 daughters Janet and Karen, and Jackie's parents Edith and George Bentley went camping near Wells Gray Park in British Columbia. The family were reported missing a week after Bob failed to show up for work. Around 5 weeks after they'd set off for their camp trip, their bodies were found in a burnt-out car on Battle Mountain Road. They'd been shot in the head with a .22 caliber weapon. Fast forward over a year later, and 24-year-old David Shearing was arrested. He later admitted to stalking the victims at their campground and shooting their adults in the head. He kept the 2 girls alive for a week, raping the eldest, 13-year-old Janet, repeatedly before killing them too. Coming into number 2, we have the mystery of the Dyatlov Pass incident. Something horrible happened to 9 ski hikers in northern Ural Mountains in Soviet Russia between the evening of February the 1st and the morning of the February the 2nd, 1959. The group were experienced winter trekkers who had set up camp for the night on the slopes. On the morning of the 2nd of February, the bodies of the campers were found in a very disturbing scene. It seems that something in the night caused the group to tear out of their own tents without proper clothing to face the sub-zero snowy climate. 6 of the group died of hypothermia, 3 died from major fractures. 1 victim had their head bashed in, 2 others had crushed chests. Now, 1 woman even had her tongue and eyes missing. The Soviet authorities investigated the suspicious deaths, but the case remains unsolved. Leading theories include an animal attack, an avalanche scare, infrasound, panic, or assassination. Others say it could be paradoxical undressing from hypothermia, which causes people to act crazily. Others say it even could have been a yeti, or some say aliens. If in doubt, crack the alien theory out. The area remained closed for investigation for 3 years, but it is now open and has been named the Dyatlov Pass in memorial of Igor Dyatlov, the 23-year-old leader of the group. Okay, so you think the rest of this list has been horrible? Well, the worst camping horror story comes from a terror attack in Norway. Devastatingly, at number 1, we have the mass murder of 70 youths on Utoya Island in Norway. On the 22nd of July 2011, dressed in police uniform, Andres Breivik boarded a ferry to the island of Utoya. This was the location of the Norwegian Labour Party youth camp, a political party that Breivik absolutely detested. The annual summer camp was attended by around 600 teenagers. Now, Breivik havoc marched around the island, including the cafeteria, the campsite, the woods, and rocky areas by the water, killing teenagers and young adults, often at point-blank range. He killed youths hiding in their tents and many others as they tried to escape. A lot of the survivors managed to hide in caves around the island. Now, the mass shooting lasted an hour and a half before the police could reach the island and help people. Of the 70 victims, the youngest victim was 14. Many of the rest were kids in their late teens and early 20s. A further 110 people were injured. Okay guys, so that was the top 10 scary camping stories. It definitely puts me off camping a little bit, but I don't know, maybe I'll make sure to bring my bear spray and my penknife next time. I actually did have a really scary camping experience in a thunderstorm in Algonquin last year, which actually was nothing compared to anything on this list, but I was terrified. Have you guys ever had anything scary happen to you whilst camping? Let me know. Just before I bop on out of here, I just want to read a couple of comments from my top 10 haunted airport stories. Now, Brianna Dukart wrote, "If I were a ghost, I'd haunt my ex." Good idea, but also bad karma. Although, can you be susceptible to bad karma when you're dead? I don't know. Swifty Runner 89 said, "I would haunt Six Flags to make it even more thrilling." That actually would be too much for me. Like, I'm very scared of a ghost train. I can just about handle a roller coaster, but roller coasters with real ghosts? I don't know. This next person though, I'm on their wavelength. A letter E official said, "Personally, I would haunt the music rooms and the auditorium of my high school. I mean, why not? You get to mess around with props, instruments, and leftover scripts from different events." Now, I love me a theatrical ghost, so I can definitely get on board with that. So guys, do let me know what you think to today's video. Do leave me a comment in the comment section down below, and I may even read some of them out in a future video. For now, I am your most amazing host, Rebecca Felgate. You can connect with me on social media by looking for the link in the description box. If you like this video, make sure you give it a good thumbs up, share with a friend, and stay subscribed for more most amazing videos. Bye!